Hey everybody, it's Paul from Screenwriting Scribe. Now, a lot of people have been asking me to look at Causality. Now, Causality is a groundbreaking story development and writing app. And so today we're going to take a look and see how it stacks up to other screenwriting programs that we've looked at in the past. We're going to take a look at the price, the features, the ease of use, resources, and of course, communication. You know, that's one of the big ones. I always hope that we find a good program that has a lot of good communication, because I know we've hit a lot of programs where the developers and stuff don't actually talk to the people that they are creating the program for. So stick around to the end of the video and see what I think of Causality and whether you should take a look at it. Now, our first category is price, and so we're on the Causality webpage, and don't worry, I'll have this linked in the description below. We're going to take a look at pricing. The nice thing is they have a pricing button right here. We can just select. So here is the pricing for Causality. Now you see you can get a free version of Causality. The only downside to the free version is you can only work on scripts that are under 10 pages long. Now you can import scripts, and I'll show you how you can do that. And you can work on them. You're just not going to be able to save it, print, or export them at all. But you can still work on them if you would like to do that. Now, if you'd like to just try the full deal for a month, you're basically spending $7.99. If you're going to do like a yearly subscription, they cut down the subscription to $5.99 per month. You can also see they have cloud, mobile apps, and team collaboration. That costs $2.49. And then they have production features, which is $8.25 per month. That's added on to the Pro version. So each of those extra things are additional add-ons that you would add to your monthly bill. Now, if you would like to just buy the Pro version, you can do that for $2.79. And that's a one-time purchase, and that's free app updates forever. Now, again, the cloud, mobile, team, and production features are extra when they come available. But if you like what you see here, and this is something that you feel like you'll use for a very long time, then I'd invite you to pick up the Pro version. Again, permanent license. Don't have to pay another dime. You pay $2.79 and you're good to go. The one thing I do notice in terms of this is that they don't switch versions very often. So I think they're only on version 3. So I don't think there's a lot of big version updates in between stuff. And so it doesn't feel like it has a lot of updates like Final Draft, which is every 2 to 3 years. It seems more like Scrivener, where there's an update only when there's a really good sized update and they can do a lot of different things. So basically that's the prices for Causality. Now the second thing we're going to look at is the features. So let's take a look. We're on their page. This is what they let us know. It's a revolutionary new kind of writing app. So this is sort of what it sort of looks like here. Again, it's really good for visual type of people who really like to see stuff all sort of planted out on the screen. As we take a look through here, it's visual storytelling. Build your story like Legos on game-changing whiteboards that updates the script. So think of it that you're working on a whiteboard, and as you move stuff around, it's very similar to a lot of other ways that programs like maybe Fade In or Final Draft use the card system, so you can move stuff around card-wise. So this isn't revolutionary stuff, but it's still a nice feature that you can have. Write like you think, work with your story the way it looks in your mind, but with the far greater ability to visualize the structure. So again, this is really good about helping you sort of, as you can see here on this sort of thing, it's talking about attempts to change the past, and allows you to see those scenes that apply to that particular theme or motif that we're going for. A tight plot. The goal is a story where all the storylines tie together and everything in that story is there for a reason. Most scripts develop this over many rewrites. In Causality, it's a natural part of your first draft. So again, it's allowing you to see stuff. Beats, not scenes. Causality works in smaller units of plot called snippets, and that's been changed, if I remember right. They've changed that. I don't think snippets are around anymore. I think everything is just beats. I don't think there's snippets anymore, because I think this is still a leftover from version 2. They're on version 3 of the software right now. So everything works in beats. So there's not really scenes. So it will cause you to, and we'll talk about this in ease of use, it's going to cause you to think differently about your screenplay or your novel if you're writing a novel. Easily write screenplays and novels or entire seasons of TV with interweaving plots and layered character arcs. It's got a nice character development sort of space where you can work at. And you can see over here. We'll look at that feature briefly. We'll look at the research feature, and you'll be able to see how it sort of puts up the research feature. And then you can also make these mind maps, similar to some of the other software you have, like Kitsonaris. I believe you can do this in Final Draft as well. The other nice thing about this software is that it supports 100 different languages. I know a lot of people always ask me, Paul, hey, can you tell me what this is in Spanish? Or is there a Spanish? Is there a Arabic? Is there, this one actually includes Klingon as well too, which I think is pretty funny. So this is definitely a program that if your native language is something other than English, this might be something you might want to take a look at. So the other features is you can use this on a single laptop, or you can use something as, if you have multiple monitors, you can sort of see the setup you can have as well too, script, whiteboard, and timeline. It's very versatile in that sense, is that you can, depending on what you're working on, you can go from having sort of everything. In this sense, it's a little cluttered. I feel like in the small version it's a little cluttered, but definitely if you have a couple monitors, this works out really nice, really pretty sweet. So the future begins now. This is the beginning of the incredible journey. Here's what in store. So these are things that they're still working on. Sync, sharing, team collaboration, deep character tracking, film production features like revision management, production reports, script supervising, automatic book layout and publishing, story synthesis, mobile apps with desktop experience, integration with Shot Designer 3D for immediate pres of your script as you write it, and multimedia integration. So these are all the different things that they're hoping to put into play in the near future. So let's talk about ease of use. Now, Causality is not the easiest thing to use. It does take a little bit of a learning curve. Coming back into it, I've used it for a little while. It's still, I'm getting used to the stuff again. And I know if I worked on a steady basis, it would come back intuitively. But it's not something that is really easy to just jump into. But that being said, it's not too hard to pick around. I think the hard part is sort of figuring out which viewpoint you want. In this particular case, I pulled out some different ways of looking at my script in Causality, and you can to import one of your scripts. If you just want to import your script, just go to File. You can import, and it will import Final Draft, a Fountain document, a Word document, or Word HTML. Now to export, you do have a couple extra options for it to be able to export it. Now I can't export it because I have the free version right now. I haven't got the paid version. But if I had the paid version, I could export it as Final Draft, Fountain, Word, Browser HTML, plain text, beats only, or whiteboard image. So these are the ways that I can, and you can still see, even with the free version, I could export the whiteboard image, and let's just do that to see what that looks like. All right, so I've got the image, and this shows me the whiteboard image sort of I have for my screenplay. It comes across as a PNG image, and this is sort of what you can see from, it's a 1 hour short film that I've been working on with AI. I did this as a test sort of film, and so you can definitely see the different ways that it's outlined on the whiteboard. And then there's some other ways you can, as we look at some other functionalities, we can look at the research page and we can pull up different characters. I do notice that one thing that I didn't do very well in my script is there is times when I've either deleted the colon or added the colon after I was talking, having somebody talk, and you can see it has created two separate people, even though they're really the same people. So I know there's some extra characters in there, and that's just me having to clean up this script. And this was just the first draft. I hadn't really worked through it too much. So there's some other different ways to look at. You can sort of see here. Let's see if I can close. Let's see if I can just get rid of that. Okay, perfect. So here's a timeline we can look at, and it sort of can look at the different scenes. And as we move here, you'll see me move through the script as well too. Here's the script over here. Now I wrote the script with Final Draft, just so you know that. And here's the other thing too. The Final Draft 13 doesn't work right now. There's no compatibility between the two. I tried, and because I have a lot shorter scripts on Final Draft 13, because I'm still working through some scripts on that. But I could not use this particular program for this. I couldn't use Causality. So I will also talk to the developer and see when they're going to have functionality for Final Draft 13. I will do that as well too. So hopefully we'll know a little bit more about that. Right, so I'm in the midst of just editing the video, and I just got a response back from the guys at Causality, and here is the email that they told me. It's a bit of bad timing because we're going through some code changes where it's harder to release, but this is just a version number in the final draft document, and there's nothing new in their latest version that we don't know already how to import. If you open the final draft document in a text editor like Notepad and decrease the version number by 1, it will import. So there you go. So then that's how you go ahead and import a final draft 13, at least until they get it caught up in the program. So that's your workaround right now. So you can use final draft 13. It's just not a very easy and seamless process, but it will work. But like I said, you can sort of see as you flow through the different scripts, you can sort of see the timeline. Now, I have this sort of all on different pages. What I can also do is if I just go like that and get rid of all of them, it all puts them back into one sort of big mismatch that I can look at as we can look at different things here. We can look at the research tool here, we can look at the timeline down here, we can look at the whiteboard here, we can look at the script here. So yeah, I'll have a more detailed video about how to do different things in Causality, but here you go, you can just sort of see how things look. And like I said, importing a script wasn't very hard. Creating a new script wasn't very hard at all either. All right, so one of the things you can do is you can take a look at different videos on the site, and let me show you how I got to these videos here. So I scrolled down to just a spot where it asks you to either download or look at videos. I simply clicked the videos, and it brought me to a new screen here, and you can take a look at their YouTube playlist. And we'll also go to their YouTube channel to see how many people they have. So they have version 3 preview. They have a quick start menu. So a lot of these other things here you'll notice, because it is version 3 right now, they don't have a lot of newer stuff up with 3, but they give you the basic idea of how, because there's been some changes in 3, but not a huge amount of changes, so a lot of these videos still apply. But you can see the amount of videos that they have for importing, splitting screens, dependencies, cause and effects, subtitle beats, filtering, version 2.0, tags, multiple languages, writing tutorials. So let's take a look at their YouTube channel. So here's their YouTube channel. They do more stuff than just Causality, so just so you're aware of that. But they have, it's a fairly good sized channel. 23, it's a lot bigger than my channel, 23,000 subscribers, and they have some other good stuff on here about how to use hot camera movements in the Expanse. They talk about those things. They also have, again, a lot of tutorials. This is where all their tutorials are housed for Causality. So besides the videos, they do have a manual as well too, and you can take a look at the manual. You can go through this, again, documentation for version 3, and the way that I found that again was just manual up here. So I'm on their featured tutorial pages, so we have their video tutorials, their manuals, we have scripts and templates, so you can see sample scripts. We also have testimonials as well too, but you can sort of see that they do have a good amount of people looking at their tutorials and stuff like that. Again, most of their tutorials feature version 2. They don't have a lot of version 3's tutorials out there yet. Again, there's not a lot of big changes between 2 and 3. And the fifth category we're going to talk about today is communication. So I just sent them, so as I've been working on this video, I sent them I was just curious if they had any affiliate links. And when they do, they don't have one right now, but when they do, I'll have it in the description below. But they actually, I sent that earlier out today, and they got back to me within a couple of hours, which I was really shocked at because I've talked to some other companies, Final Draft, that have never gotten back to me. It's in some sense, it either seems to be really feast or famine in terms of communication with a lot of these software companies. But Hollywood Camera Work, who makes Causality, got back to me right away. I'm also sending them a question about the final draft. How soon you'll be able to have functionality with being able to import Final Draft 13. scripts as well too. And once that happens, I will let you know in the comment section below, or I might do an updated video for you really quickly to let you know as well too. So here we go. How would I review Causality? Again, I rate out of a 5-reel system, with 1 reel being, no, that's Squibler territory. 2 5-reels going, yeah, it's really good. Now, I've been having a hard time sort of figuring out the price point. So I'm going to go with 3 stars. Now, the good thing about Causality is it does have a free program. So definitely, if before you buy, always try. And so kick the tires, give it a try. It's 10 pages. If you really enjoy it, then think about maybe going for the Pro program and doing maybe a yearly subscription to that, which is $5.99, so $72. I don't know if they charge tax, so it might be a little bit more. So just think about $100 if this is a program that you want. Now, if you think this is something that you're going to use for a long period of time, then I would consider the $279. The hard part about that, and the reason why I went down to more of a 3, I like their other pricing. I think their other pricing works really well, $5.99 or $7.99 per month if you're just doing it per month for month. I think the hard part for me is the $279. I understand where they're coming from for that, but I also look at how often are they upgrading Causality, and it doesn't seem like they're upgrading it fairly quickly or fairly often. So, like I said, I'm torn by that, because I too myself am trying to figure out how to do that sort of lifetime part for software. I'm working on classes for Final Draft as well as Fade In, and how do you charge a lifetime license for that? So I get that. I think I would be more comfortable with less than $200, maybe a $180. If it was $180, I'd definitely say get the lifetime, because that'd be a better deal. But I think the hard part is that you have to sort of figure out if you're going to want to use this for the long haul. If you're going to use this more than 4 to 5 years, buy the lifetime license. If not, just get the monthly license or the yearly license, so you're paying $72 a month. So features, I think I'm going to give something new. I haven't done this ever before for a software program that I've looked at. I'm going to cut one of my reels in half and give them a 3.5. Because I think there's a lot of things I like about Causality that is better than a lot of your typical programs, especially the research function and the outlining function. It reminds me of a better Scrivener. So if you ever used Scrivener before, they have a great research function. I think Causality's research function is better, and it's also nicer that it has this nice sort of, well, that's sort of a thing. It's supposed to help you outline your story. It's got a great outline feature. It's got a great whiteboard feature. And now in terms of script editor, I'm not a big fan of it. It's just not easy for me to use. I think if I had more practice with it, I think it would be okay. So that's why I'm sort of landing between 3 and 4. So 3.5. So Causality, congratulations for my first partial score. And so let's head to the next category. Number 3, ease of use. So I'm going to go probably with another 3.5 again. I don't know. Causality is really bringing this out. This half a reel, 3.5 reels. It's not the easiest program to use. It reminds me a lot of SCREENWRITING in that you really have to get used to using the program. It's not as intuitive as, let's say, Arc Studio Pro or Final Draft or Fade In, where you can just sort of jump in. Now, so here's the caveat to all of that. So the caveat to all of that is basically, so you're dealing with something different. So in a traditional screenwriting software program that we're used to, we generally use, we look at scenes. Now, Causality uses beats. It's a little different way in order to structure your screenplay or your novel or whatever you're working on. And that's fine. I think the hard part is if you have been ingrained in the screenwriting system, you tend to work on scenes. And so this is a new way to think about it. It's not a bad way, just a different way to think about it. So the nice thing that they have, and we'll talk about this here in just a second, they have a lot of nice resources to help you get to where you need to go at. The staff is really friendly as well too. So I want to give them a little bit more than just an average for ease of use, because they have all these other tools. So again, 3.5. So number 4, let's talk about resources. And I give Causality 4 reels. No, there's no half on this one. Just looking at their YouTube channel, they do a lot with YouTube. They have 81 videos. They have some great tutorials on there. Now, granted, the tutorials for 3 are a little old. I think they should redo all of them because of just showing people what the new features look like and just how life looks like with 3. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, so their YouTube stuff is great. They got 24,000 people watching their stuff, so obviously they're doing something right. So again, the other thing I'd like to point out too is they also have a manual that you can look at, and they also have good customer support, which we'll talk about here in a couple seconds. But with all those together, definitely a 4. I think the 5 would have been if they would have more. For a 5 for me, for this particular category, it would be if they had more resources just about general screenwriting, maybe some more stuff on their blogs and stuff like that, or maybe something more on their Twitter account. But 4 is good. And I think, like I said, I want to just applaud them for what they're doing. It's great that they have such good tutorials as well too. And finally, let's take a look at communication. And they get a 5 reel. Like I said, they talked to me right away. Now they're on European time, and I'm in the Midwest here, so there is a time difference, but they got to me fairly quickly. I liked how super and honest they were with me about their affiliate program and stuff like that. So as soon as they do get one, I will attach that in the description for this, and also for any other videos I make for them as well too. So you can't go wrong. They talk to you, so you got to have 5 stars. So that means Causality ends the final score of 19. So it's a pretty good screenwriting software program. So what are my final thoughts on Causality? I like Causality. I think it's a good program. It's a good program in the space, especially if you're one who is a very visual writer and needs to have everything laid out. I think it works really well. So would I buy it? So that's a loaded question from the perspective that I use and look at a lot of different screenwriting software programs. I have a lot of programs that would fill this niche for me, where I can sort of see visually how a program would come together. And so I probably wouldn't buy the lifetime stuff. I probably would buy the maybe a yearly subscription to this and try it out for a little while. I don't know, like I said, if it was about $150 to $180, I actually probably would buy this and just have it on my computer, because I like that sort of visual type of learning or a visual type of storytelling. I really think that's going to be useful. But who knows? I might buy this in the future. It's hard to say. The other thing that's hard for me is switching between scenes and beats. And this is my hard part with SCREENWRITE as well too, because SCREENWRITE really works on beats, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just a different approach, and I have to get my mind used to writing a little differently. But if you're thinking about picking this up, you can't go wrong. I would probably use it more as a brainstorming tool than the actual screenwriting program. I don't like the editor. I don't like how the editor works. It isn't as easy to use as Fade In or Final Draft or Scrivener. But I do like the research function. I do like how the whiteboard sort of all fills out and lets you go from beat to beat to beat real easily. And I know you can get that in Final Draft as well. I like this in just in terms of way of how it's laid out. I think it's got a little bit more functionality than the stuff that we see in Final Draft does. So what do you think? Have you tried Causality before? Let me know in the comment sections below. I'm going to do a couple of tutorials as well too, so you can get to see how to use Causality a little better, because like I said, it's a good program. And again, it's more for the people who like to use visual type of storytelling. If you need a whiteboard, and if you want to be able to lay stuff out so you can see how that story works out, it's got a great type of function. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. Until the next video, live well and write well.